Hello and welcome back to another pauper EDH showcase. Today we'll feature Armix and Ghost of Ramirez, a Demir combination which doesn't have any combo, right? There are no combos in this deck. This is straight up beats, where you beat down with Armix and also discard to really spot remove any problematic creatures on the board. And then with the Ghost of Ramirez on board at the same time, you could start to recur some value by getting that discarded spell back to your hand. So yeah, like I said, this is a pauper build, so that means that every, with the exception of the commanders, every card in this deck has had a common printing at some point or another in its life. And so, right off the bat, we're just going to get one thing out the way. There is a pauper EDH format, but really this deck was constructed to be a pauper deck that can operate in a normal EDH environment. So with that said, there are 2 ban cards in the deck, which could be taken out of this list and swapped out for really anything else. So as I know, this combination of partners fares well in pauper EDH. I have yet to practice to bring this deck out in a real environment, in a normal EDH environment. The reason why I like to bring out these type of decks along with me is just it's a flex. If you could pull off a win with a pauper deck, it's like a big flex. I have run pauper decks in regular commander a lot when I really have to tone down my power level. And it does really well. It does really well. And there are like moments where like I'm ready to combo off and I have to keep a ton of mana open and like just really try to protect my combo. But I have not secured a win yet with a pauper deck in an EDH environment. And mind you that I have like 20 years of like card playing under my belt, like disgusting, sweaty card playing under my belt. And so when you run these pauper decks in an EDH environment, you really have to know how to like conserve your hand. And then with a deck like this, it functions like a regular EDH deck, but differently. And I guess we'll talk about that as we start to look at some of these cards. And what I mean is like, we'll figure it out as we get there. So you have Armix. So he's a creature, artifact heavy deck, right off the bat, right off the gate. And then Ghost of Ramirez, just to recur, get some value from the discarding. So of course, Ristic Study is a ban card in pauper EDH, and Mystic Remora is the other ban card in pauper EDH. These, as I know, as of the making of this video, these are the only 2 cards that are banned in official pauper EDH. And so we're going to get into our creatures. We have Crashing Drawbridge, just some card, just to help accelerate your Armix. Right? Armix getting in as soon as possible, and just chipping away at each opponent. It's a grind fest, right? This deck is a grind fest. Let's get that, make that clear. I guess the reason why it does so much better in an actual pauper EDH format is I think the commander damage is less. It's not 21. I think it's like 14 or 16 or something like that. But yeah, it's still the same rule. You just want to get Armix on board as soon as possible. And plus, artifact creature has synergies with Armix. And then Ornithopter of Paradise, another mana dork. That's also a artifact creature. So again, nice synergy with Armix. We have a Deranged Assistant, which is a really weird mana dork, but it has synergy with Ramirez, where you're gonna mill. That's gonna, if the Ramirez gets in, then you're going to get that card back, which is cute. Horde Robber. Now, I don't know. A lot of these pauper EDH deck creators they're wild. I'm gonna put that out there right now, and they don't have like a card like Horde Robber in any builds of anything really. It's as if this card doesn't exist. But let me tell you, it's a great card. Even in regular EDH, it's a great card. And the treasures don't hurt Armix, his artifact count. A Street Wraith, which is really in here because it's a discard outlet, right? You discard it, get in with Ramirez, and get it back. Same thing with a Fairy Macabre. Now, you might watch some of my other videos where everything's blinged out, but my pauper stuff is like independent from my main collection. I'm not interested in blinging out a pauper deck. We have a bunch of these transmute cards. I don't know what Wizards was thinking, printing transmute as a common, but yeah, these are great. And they're great with Ramirez, and they're decent pauper tutors. Drift of Phantasms. And then we're going to get into our counter package. Very weird counter package this is. But what can you do? We have a Spell Pierce, right? Nothing out of the ordinary. Dispel, okay. It's pretty familiar. The Mizium Skin, okay. Oh wow, it's an overload. Oh wow, you know what? I never realized this as an overload. What is the overload? You may cast each, all instances of target. Wow. Oh wow. So you can protect your board. Wow. Oh wow. This is neat. You give your board hexproof. This is kind of like that green card. What the hell was the name of it? The Heroic Intervention, right? Cool. Oh, creatures. Only creatures. Only creatures. Dive down. Again, because it's just low mana cost, right? The mana cost is small. And we like things that cost very little in any format. Doesn't matter. And after a while of getting beat in the head with like an Armix, your opponent might get tired of it and try to just spot remove it. So those are great. Counter soft counter spells. We have a negate, nagate, memory lapse, counter spell, deprive. Deprive is really much better when you're doing like grinding a Mystic Sanctuary loops. There's no Mystic Sanctuary in this deck, but whatever. In other decks, it really puts in work. Same thing with like a Daze. How is Daze going to work when I run it? Over the weekend? I don't know. But it's essentially free counter magic, and a foil, which is a common force of will. Our draw package, we have Brainstorm, Opt, Frantic Search, Impulse, Deadly Dispute, Gush, Gitaxian Probe, Preordain, Ponder, Knight's Whisper, Treasure Cruise, And then we're going to move along to our creature removal package. So in Pauper, I don't believe there are any board wipes per se, right? There's a sorcery called a Fade Away. Actually, yeah, let's just pause the video for a second. I'll pull up Fade Away. Right, so Fade Away, not in the deck, but really it's a meta call, right? It could be slotted in anywhere. Is like the best board wipe, in my opinion, that's available in Pauper. And like Echoing Truth. Yeah, Echoing Truth too could put in work. Continue. The problem with this deck is there's a ton of can't target a non-black creature, but what can you do? It's Pauper. It's Pauper, baby. So we have Ghastly Demise, V for Vendetta, and Cast Down. Snuff Out, which is free. Spinning Darkness, which is free, but you got to work towards it. Trainer's Edict. This is like a soft board wipe, right? If you have the opponent. Oh yeah, if you have like the Spellslinger opponent who doesn't really have too much of a board presence, right? They just have a ton of rocks. You could Trainer's Edict the shit out of them. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. You could board wipe them. Innocent Blood. The more important ones, things like Resculpt, which is very versatile. Winds of Rebuke, whack, blue spot removal. Feed the Swarm at Sorcery Speed. And Bone Shards. Again, it's a meta call. You might have to take a lot of the creature removal for like the whack blue bounce spells if you have the Stacks player. But maybe Armix, Ghost Ramirez, they totally play around like rule of law effects, right? They're just putting the beats. It's a draw, swing of Armix, draw, swing of Armix. Our tutors, the best we could do in Pauper, we have a Merchant Scroll and Dizzy Spell, Muddle the Mixture, Shred Memory, Perplex. You know, they do other things, but typically in there to tutor, to transmute. A Dark Ritual, which is a card that like Pauper players don't play. They don't ramp. I don't know why. It's like really bad arguments as to why they don't. But like turn 1 Armix is turn 1 Armix. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you. Oh, and then a couple of these auras that make my Armix preferably unblockable. We have an Aqueous Form and a Cloak of Mists. Really, you just want your Armix to get in as many times as possible, right? And that's the name of the game with this deck. That's the bottom line. It's a non-combo deck that just, beats up an opponent. Start with the sweatiest opponent first. More cards like that. We have our Cranial Plating. And then these, whichever comes first, right? You're running a slow-ass Pauper deck, so whatever you draw into first is probably the one that's going to get played. And I guess the other one could just be thrown onto a Ghost of Ramirez. So even if you give that creature Shroud, you can't put the Cloak of Mist in Aqueous Form on it. It's fine. It's good enough. Especially like the Whisper Silk. And then Nurok Stealth Suit gives your creature Shroud. But, you're just going to beat. It's very boring deck, probably. Other artifacts, some utility. We have a Witching Well and a Conjurer's Bauble, just a recursion. We have a Chromatic Star, Chromatic Sphere, A lotus petal, which is another one of these cards that these pauper EDH forums talk about, like not running it. It's not worth. You're not storming off. It's like I don't care if I'm storming off or not, bro. Like it buys me a turn. Play things a turn early is perfect. Arkham's Astrolabe. And a prophetic prism, just to filter through colors. We have a thought vessel, some rocks, not the best rocks. We have a mind stone, a Demir signet, a fell war stone. I apologize for the version I have, but I promise you all these cards have been printed pauper at some point. Arcane signet, and a commander sphere. It's nice that Armix, his artifact count needs to be either on the field or in the graveyard. So that's great. That's fantastic news. For the lands, we have this is I think 12 islands, snow islands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, 10 snow islands. Okay, my apologies. And 8 snow swamps. And then just to help my artifact count, we have all the colored artifact lands. We have a Seed of Synod, a Vault of Whispers, and a Mistvault Bridge. And then our other duels, we have a Ice Tunnel and a Command Tower. I don't need the other ones. I don't need the other ones. We have a Halamar Depths, just to help look through the deck. So this is one of these type of cards. I'm sure there are other ones. Even Brainstorm. Like you just can't play them to play them. You play them, do what it does, but then you really want to have the ability to shuffle the deck if things go wrong. Right? So Brainstorm. I see that happen a lot. I see people play like Brainstorm to just fate seal themselves. And then a lot of these whack-ass fetch lands, but it's the best you could do. Terramorphic Expanse, Evolving Wilds, Warp Landscape, which is one reason why I don't do the other common duels. The panoramas, right? We have the Grixis and Esper, because they're both in blue and black. And those are your shuffle cards, right? I don't think people realize how important it is to be able to just shuffle the deck up. And I guess the panoramas aren't that bad. They tap for colorless mana. And Ash Barrens, not really going to play it. More just going to land cycle it, discard, and get value from a Ghost of Ramirez. Same thing with the Baron Moor and a Lonely Sandbar. Just pitch it and get that the Ghost of Ramirez value. And so there you have it. You have Ramirez Armix, pauper build, not pauper EDH. Well, I don't know how different the two formats vary, right? I don't know what's so different about pauper EDH, the format, but I'm sure the deck is perfectly fine in that environment too. So with the exception of the Mystic Remora and a Ristic Study, knock yourself out. So also, I guess it's like a very budget-friendly build, which is something that kind of drives me crazy. I don't want to shame newbie players, but there's just so much information out there for a budget deck. So if you find a deck that works for you, at least for God's sake, have the composition of the deck make sense, right? Don't put the cards that your brother gave to you before he left the army. Don't put the cards that you pulled a foil in a draft. Put the cards that make sense in the deck. And this is all commons. So it's really hard to find excuses for people that I don't know. The excuses. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll come back with another pauper deck because they're low key a lot of fun to play when you just want to, you know, not give yourself a headache playing cards.